Oh my goodness, I'm having so much fun playing Elden Ring. I love rolling and pairing every boss in the game with slight variations while working with the most sluggish and boring movement style imaginable. Give me more. Yes, please. I love Souls games. I love Souls games. I love Souls games.
This game fucking sucks!
That's it. I need something refreshing. I need an experience that's completely innovative, intuitively designed, and is both engaging and welcoming to its onboarding audience. I need something right now, or else I'm gonna be...
In all my years of gaming, I haven't come across a game like Dead by Daylight. I remember the fateful day about a year and a half ago where I bought it on CD keys by the request of a certain someone I know, and the rest is history. It's one of my most played games of all time with about 1,000 hours. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, that's funny you mentioned that, because apparently I'm practically still a beginner in the eyes of the larger community. Isn't that crazy? God damn. One of the most notorious aspects of this game is that it sucks. Well, yes, but wait, what the fuck? Well, yeah, but it's that it has one of the worst onboarding processes of like any game, like in the history of gaming. Then why, boys, you ask? Then why are you telling me to play this game? Because it's fun, man. Because it's fucking fun. Believe you me, I may be a relatively new player, but when you get to learning and you're locked into the flow of the game, you'll be hooked. A 10 hut. Listen up, you newbies. Listen to me loud and clear. This journey will not be easy. You will get tunneled. You will get slugged. You will get sandbagged by a baby Leon. Hell, it may be all of the above, but goddamn it, will the sacrifice be worth it in the end? Because at least you won't run around like a headless chicken. Now give me your war cry, soldier. So what's the plan here? You know what? I think I tend to be a long-winded here on the channel, so I think I'll try and switch things up a bit. Well, the best I can. And speedrun, because there's a lot to digest. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Stop me if you've heard this before. Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical action/horror game where groups of 4 survivors work together to escape the one killer chasing them throughout the map. Sounds simple, right? Wrong! You escape by powering 5 generators and then leaving through the exit gates, or through the hatch if there is one survivor left in the match. Each map has 8 gens, so you don't have to power every single one. In the case of 2v8 though, there are 13 gens on the map instead of 8, though you do need to repair 8 to escape. Side note, if you're new, I do heavily recommend playing 2v8 as a starting point. It's not as laser focused and strategic as the base 1v4, but you can get away with a lot more stuff here and play casually than you can in the latter. Fuck.
No, you a bitch. You a bitch.
No! Get him! Slinger, get him! Slinger! Definitely give it a try when you can, because it's limited time and it comes out in waves. So I would definitely recommend hopping on there. The gens have really tall lights sticking out from them, so if you don't know map layouts, which you probably don't if you're watching this video, you can look out for them in outdoor maps for easy spotting. When on a gen, you can get skill checks to keep you on your toes as you repair them. You can hit great skill checks to speed up the progress by 1%, but if you're not used to them, I'd recommend going for goods until you feel you have a decent handle on the timing, because if you blow up a gen, not only do you make yourself look like a total doofus, but the gen loses 10% of the progress and the killer's alerted to your location, which, if you're new, you don't want that happening. The killer can kick the gens to make them regress, so if you're not sticking to those gens, you could be losing on some progress throughout the game. Action is the name of the game here, so you should always be doing something, whether that's a gen, healing a teammate, something. I know it's a horror game and the spooky, scary spring trap where Freddy Krueger is coming after you, but if you want to make it out, especially in this economy, you gotta be locked in. War cry, soldier! Keep track of which gens you repair and where, because if the time comes to repair the final gen and the last 3 gens on the map are close together, you're in for a rough time. This is what's known as a 3-gen, which is one of the toughest situations for near endgame in a survivor match. So to summarize, find the gens, do the gens, and you're golden. Another rule of thumb is that multiple people can do a gen at the same time, but you face a speed penalty for each added member, so the additional speed is almost never worth it. Always have 1 or at most 2 people on a gen at a time. So let's say you're doing exactly what I just told you and you get the feeling the killer's nearby. Every killer has what's called a terror radius, which is a music theme accompanied by a heartbeat that gets more intense as they get close to you. As the name implies, it's a terror radius, so it's like an area that surrounds the killer as they move around. Some killers and perks can take it away entirely to get the jump on you. The killer also has what's called a red stain, which shows their field of view as they're playing in first person while you're playing in third person as a survivor. If the killer does find you, you're going to enter chase, which is where the fun and skill expression of the game truly shines. The tools at your disposal are mainly pallets and windows. And before you ask, because I know you're going to ask, no, do not go in lockers. What did I say about being active? Lockers are like a beginner's trap since they don't do anything for people who don't know perks, aura, etc. Back to chase. Pallets and windows are some of the main ways to dodge and gain distance on the killer while they are chasing you, as they have to either break the pallet or vault the window, both of which take a lot of time for them to do and let you get pretty far. You can also vault the pallet when it's dropped. If you time a pallet drop on the killer just right, you can stun them, but most of them are going to expect it. That's where mind games are going to come into play. Pallets can be placed into 3 separate categories: unsafe pallets, safe pallets, and god pallets. You can usually tell which is which by looking at them, but here's the rundown. Unsafe pallets are usually entirely a mind game. If you drop it and you don't get the stun, you're going to get hit almost every time. They're usually surrounded by very short runs of debris and the like. These pallets are usually only on the outskirts of maps or serve as fillers in between busier and more stacked structures known as tiles. In these tiles, you can usually find safe pallets, which allow more room for error if you drop them without getting the stun. That being said, if you're not being careful and the killer knows their way around the tile, you might get tickled so they call you out. Then there's the god pallets. These pallets are practically a gimme for survivors, as the killer has to break them to reach you, regardless of whether they get stunned or not. Maps like Midwich and Gideon Meat Plant are filled with these. If you want to say fuck the mind games, you could just pre-drop the pallet. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Do not hesitate to pre-drop the pallet in some scenarios. If you can tell that a pallet is safe and the killer allows for it, save yourself the struggle and just drop it if you're not confident in your loops yet. The longer your chase lasts, the better. In this game, every second counts, regardless of how dog shit you may think you are. That being said, don't drop pallets willy-nilly. You still want to keep some up so you don't make the map a dead zone and kill your teammates. You don't want to make yourself look like a bot in front of everyone else, and play like a bot too. Another note is that on the HUD to your left, you can tell that someone's in chase if you see tendrils moving next to their character icon, so that gives you some good information combined with the terror radius to give you an idea of what to do. Windows are your other main resource, and their classifications are kind of similar to pallets, but they aren't one-to-one. Vaulting windows comes with 3 different types: slow, medium, and fast vaults. Slow vaults are performed by vaulting the window without holding the shift or your run button. You mainly do this to reach areas without alerting the killer, but in a chase you rarely ever want to do this apart from some mind games because of something I'll mention in a second. Medium vaults are done when you vault a window while running, and fast vaults are done when you carry momentum from your run and hit the vault. Essentially when you run in a straight line for a bit and then vault. This difference may not seem huge, but it makes a world of difference. The main thing you should know is that when you medium or fast vault, you alert the killer. In some tiles like the Killer Shack, this is where a slow vault can be sprinkled in for a mind game since it doesn't make the alert sound. Put all these things together and you get looping. Even if you haven't played the game, I'm sure you've heard this term be thrown around relentlessly. It's essentially the act of running the killer around a pallet or other resources across the map. The reason why it's called looping is because the threat of a pallet stun for the killer is so great that they will oftentimes respect the pallet as you run past it, which will let you run around and reach the pallet again or another tile entirely. It's essentially the description of the chase in action. You have 3 health states: healthy, injured, and down. While healthy, you move as normally and make no noise apart from grunts while running. Ideally, this is where you want to be in chase since you can take a hit and there's no revealing audio cues for the killer to take advantage of. You can take 1 hit, however, which gives you a speed boost for a bit to make distance while you transition into the injured state. Here you leave pools of blood and start groaning a lot, like a lot. It's a lot easier for the killer to detect you, so you can't be sneaky unless you equip perks to circumvent that. And once your chase is finally over and the killer catches up to you, assuming they don't drop chase, you will go down and go on to the hooks are essentially where the stakes are placed throughout the match. When you're down and the killer picks you up, you'll be placed on a hook, rendering you immobile and useless until someone comes and rescues you from the hook. Each survivor has 3 hook stages, progressing each time you're hooked. Hit the 3rd stage and you're dead, gone from the match. For the first 2 hook stages, you're on a 70-second timer until you move to the next stage automatically, which gives your teammates plenty of time to work on gens or heal each other before coming to help you out. Typically, you want to spend as much time as possible on the hook since cranking the gens and completing other objectives are almost more important, and you don't want to waste time as well as a specific other thing I'm going to mention. If the killer's a sweaty comp player, they may camp or proxy camp the hook to ensure that whoever comes to your rescue either goes down before they can make it or they 1-for-1 and trade places with you on the hook. Luckily, this game has an anti-camp mechanic that lets you unhook yourself should the killer stay a little too close to your precarious situation for an extended period of time. It's shown through a yellow bar at the bottom. Now when you're unhooked, you have about 10 seconds of a slight speed boost in endurance for slight preventive measures. Preventive measures for what, you may ask? Note that at the start, that Dead by Daylight is a 1v4 game where the goal is teamwork. If 4 survivors are split up and doing their job, it calls for quite the task for the killer to maintain some form of pressure on the team while the gens are being done. As such, one of the strongest strategies would be to cut down the numbers to tip the odds greatly in your favor, which results in one of the most notorious playstyles this game has ever known, which is tunneling. When a survivor is unhooked, not only are they still injured, but it alerts the killer by making a loud ass noise notification akin to fast vaults and skill check misses. You'll know a killer's tunneling if they book it right back to the hook and chase your sweet hide. If you don't reach a pallet or something in the 10 seconds you have endurance and nobody's there to take a hit for you, you bet your ass you're going to be on that hook again. And chances are when you get unhooked the second time, they're coming right back to repeat it and kick your ass back to the lobby. So what, boys, you may ask, from the helplessness of your situation? What must I do? Well, my friend, the answer to that is money. The most direct answer to tunneling is the perk Decisive Strike by Laurie Strode, who costs $5 because licensed characters can't be bought with in-game currency. Gotta fork over those doubloons, my guy. There are a lot of anti-tunneling techniques and perks in the wild, free or otherwise. Not to mention there's no real guarantee you'll be tunneled at every game. Assume you don't get tunneled and the killer values fair fun for the whole lobby. What then? Well, just carry on and be on your merry way, there's no real danger. Apply what I've been teaching you, dingus, or you could, well, you know. One of the neat things about DBD is that the character you choose has almost no real bearing on the gameplay. Everyone has the same movement speed, physics, etc. The only real difference between characters is the sounds of their groans while injured or running. Like take me for instance, I'm a P100 Jeff main standing proud baby, and I'm all too used to him groaning like a constipated bear when he's limping around the map. Some characters are quieter than others, but I'm going to be real with you, unless you're comp and for some reason looking to get into the pro scene, this shouldn't really affect your decision. Choose the character you vibe with and go with them. That's not to say the characters are completely dismissible. Oh no, my friend, you're sorely mistaken. Along with a collection of universal perks that everyone can unlock in their base kit, each survivor carries 3 individual perks that carry various effects with varying levels of success. As you complete matches, you receive blood points, which are the main force behind the progression in this game. Each survivor has a blood web which you put your accumulated blood points into, and thankfully the FNAF update is going to make this much faster, so you don't have to worry about it like us old veterans. Every perk has 3 tiers that you can upgrade to within the blood web, with the 3rd tier having the strongest effects, whether that be through time, distance, speed, etc. Once you hit level 50, you can prestige your character to give their tier 1 perks to everyone. It's at this point that I should note this is where one of the most notorious aspects of the game comes into play. The tremendous paywall and non-stop grind! There are plenty of videos that explain the problems with the system, but as I said, you have to buy the characters to unlock the perks, and then you have to prestige each one to get them, and as your survivor repertoire grows, you'll have a lot more, requiring you to put endless blood points into your main, or god forbid you want to play multiple survivors, because you only get the perks at level 1, and prestige 1, and the blood web is random, and you have to hope you get the good ones, otherwise you're going to be stuck at small game. Yeah, it's a rough system, but at least the recent updates don't make it a hassle to go through. I can't really go in depth into every perk because there's about 275 plus perks in the game. Let me repeat that. 275 plus individual perks for Survivor and Killer. Granted, a lot of these perks aren't good at all without combos, and you won't need to run a grand majority of these until you gain experience. As you level up your character, you'll be able to run 4 perks at a time, allowing for variety in your perk loadouts for gameplay versatility and experimentation. While there is a large paywall for some of the best perks in the game, the free survivors definitely don't lack in that area either. Tell you what, I'll give you some of the best base kit perks and survivors to start with for unlocks, and then we can go from there. By the way, if a perk seems appealing to you, go ahead and try it out. Don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want, especially for fun. I'd say there's about 5 universal perks I'd say are relevant enough to mention. Those being Kindred, Deja Vu, Hope, Will Make It, and Resilience. Kindred activates when you or someone else is hooked, and it lets you see the killer's aura if they're near the hook, as well as everyone else map-wide. If someone else is on the hook and they have the perk, they give you these effects. Deja Vu shows you the 3 closest gens together and gives a slight speed boost to repairing them, which is great for avoiding those pesky 3 gens I mentioned earlier. Hope gives you a movement speed boost when the gens are powered, which is handy, and Resilience gives you an action speed boost when you're injured, so this one's a bit more difficult to use, but it is definitely a good one. Will Make It gives you double heal speed for 90 seconds after unhooking a survivor, which is great for resetting and getting back into the action ASAP. And now we're onto the survivors. Some of these already come with the base games, and some of them you'll need to unlock, but they're free, so I made sure to keep that in mind for y'all. Dwight Fairfield, the poster boy of the game, everyone's favorite nerd. For the starting lineup, he's consistently had one of the most solid perk loadouts all around to this day. Bond lets you see your teammates highlighted, also known as aura revealing. Prove Thyself allows you to do gens faster with other people, and Leader lets people around you do actions like healing, cleaning totems, etc. faster. Feng Min is another great beginner pick with Lithe, which gives you a speed boost when you vault a window or pallet, or Alert, which lets you see the killer when they break an object or kick a gen. Technician though, that's dog shit, don't touch that. Leave it alone. Kate Denson. You get this character for one perk and one perk only, Windows of Opportunity. It lets you see pallets and windows near you, so it's great for learning chase and map layouts, but I actually encourage you to take it off of your loadouts as early as possible, because it can become a crutch perk for some. Calm down, I'm not saying you in particular, but there's just been some cases where people become, over-reliant on the perk, and I just genuinely think that if you want to get good, I think this perk kind of handicaps you a little bit. Meg Thomas. Another one of the core 4 survivors, Meg also has solid perks in Sprint Burst, which gives you a speed boost when you run, and Adrenaline, which heals you and gives you a speed boost when all the gens are done. Similar to Feng Min though, Quick and Quiet, that's also dog shit. Don't touch that. Claudette Morel? Yeah, sorry if I butchered that. The core 4 have a pretty strong set of survivors, huh? A healing focused survivor, Botany Knowledge boosts your healing by 50% no holds barred, and it actually got buffed so it had a medkit reduction speed that got removed. Self-care is a dog shit perk by itself, so don't run it individually, but if you combo it with Botany and maybe Resilience, it's quite usable, especially since newer players don't want to stay injured. Empathy is kind of like Dwight's Bond but for injured survivors and you can see them from further, so I'd say it's better, but pick your poison. Zarina Cassier is a good pick mainly for her perk Off the Record, possibly the best anti-tunnel perk next to the Decisive Strike, so it's a good substitute if you don't want to fork over the $5 for Lori. I'd say these survivors are a great starting point, but if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it and look into other survivors, because there's a lot of good stuff out there, well, except for Thalita, she's just kind of ass all around. Check out Utsdarva's website and YouTube channel for info on survivor perks, as well as like literally anything else because he's like the DBD encyclopedia for learning the game. I got into it through him like most people, and y'all would probably benefit from the same. Now I've been giving you the survival guide, the whole shebang. You're all set for the outside world, soldier. You've been properly trained to be hornswaggled and manhandled by a bloodthirsty predator in the wild. Is what I would tell you if your dumbass knew what the predator in question was, soldier. Give me a war cry, damn it. There are 40 current killers, each with their unique powers. A survivor running is 100% speed for a basis, and most killers move at 115%. Killers that primarily use their main weapon are called M1 killers, and are typically moving at 115%. There are a couple exceptions to this rule, typically in the form of projectile killers which move at 110% to offset their range. There are also extreme cases such as Nurse who move at 90%. Clearly, there's a lot of them, so we're gonna need to do a speed run go. Trapper, DBD killer poster boy, as the name implies, he places traps. Step on them, you go down. Find them, disarm them. Look carefully at pallets and windows and be mindful of grass and shrubbery. Wraith, stealth killer with a lot of mobility. His cloak power lets him go invisible while moving insanely fast, but is an M1 killer outside of that. Stay healed and use resources mindfully. The Hillbilly, crazy dude with a chainsaw that can insta down you and shred through pallets. Moves insanely fast around the map but has a hard time turning outside his initial curve, so use that to your advantage. Nurse, the best killer in the game. Always has been. Moves at 90% but uses blinks which are 2 teleport like dashes to hit you through basically anything. Break a line of sight as much as possible and don't stop holding W. The Shape, or Michael Myers. The reason why this game is here to this day. Stealth killer that stalks survivors to build tiers. He hits tier 3, he can instant down you, but other than that he's just a plain old M1 killer. The Hag. Not ranged but moves at 110%. This is because like Trapper she puts down mud traps but she teleports to them. Crouch near them to wipe them away and then she's essentially powerless. The Doctor. My goat Herman Carter. He has a shock that he charges up that blocks you from performing actions like vaulting or dropping pallet. Learn the timing to dodge or pre-drop so he doesn't get free hits. He also has a static blast that makes everyone in his terror radius scream so you can't really stealth around him. He's also got a madness system that builds up and when you hit level 3 you have to snap out of it before you can basically do anything. Crazy shit. Literally. The Huntress. My whole life is changed since you came in. Are you back then? The OG ranged killer moves at 110% but has 7 hatchets that she throws to damage and down survivors. Be ready to dodge or witness the utter atrocities that are her hatchet hitboxes. Also, do not pre-drop against this killer. She will hit you over the pallet. The Cannibal. Bubba from Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of functions like Billy where he has a chainsaw he revs up, shreds pallets and insta-downs, but he only moves slightly faster when using it. And if he bumps into something while using it, he has a tantrum. The Nightmare. Oh boy, Freddy is a M1 killer with an assortment of powers. Like the source material, he exists in the dream world where his powers can affect you, but in game you fall asleep over the course of a minute. He can shoot out a red puddle, drop fake pallets and hit you to shorten your timer, but the first two have effects while you're asleep. He can slow you down with the red puddle, so be ready to dodge, and fake pallets explode on a timer and damage you if you're close, but you can drop them. He can also teleport to gens or survivors healing in the dream world, so you're never really safe in there. There are clocks around the map that you can use to wake up, and you can also wake up survivors if you're also awake. The Pig. A killer that can crouch to go stealthy, but she moves slow as shit. She has a dash attack from crouch, mainly used as small loops or tile mix-ups. If she downs you, she can put on a trap on your head that you gotta take off at various jigsaw boxes on the map. Why? Because if a gen pops, the timer counts down, and if your shit is still on by the time it's up, the Clown. This nasty, boring fuck throws bottles that slow you down or make him faster. Pre-dropping is king. The Spirit. 110 killer that moves insanely fast while invisible. She makes a really loud noise while in her phase, as it's called. She can only hear you and see your scratch marks, so if you're injured, it's GG's. The Legion. M1 killer that has a frenzy state that lets them move fast and chain hits but can't down, so not much else to it. Free injuries, no downs, don't bother healing. The Plague. Another killer that doesn't let you heal but you actually can't. She barfs on shit as well as you, and if you get sick, you get injured and you stay injured. There are fountains to cleanse, but if you do, she can use that to make your barf directly damaged, so take your pick. The Ghostface. M1 stealth killer that stalks you like Myers but makes individual characters insta-downable. Look at him long enough to reveal him and he loses his stealth. Demogorgon. This little fella has a leap attack that can damage you and shred pallets. He can also place portals around the map to teleport to and from. You can take these down to limit his mobility. The Oni. M1 killer that has no power until someone gets injured. When he gets enough blood from survivors, Blood Fury activates and he's basically a better Billy. Play as safe as you can against this guy, because the second he gets power, he's gonna wreck shit up. The Deathslinger. The Call of Duty killer. Ranged killer that shoots a gun that pulls you in and injures you. Like Huntress, get ready to dodge and do not pre-drop like a bot. Otherwise... The Executioner. Ranged killer that shoots shockwaves with the sword. They move quickly along the ground and can go through walls, so be careful. He leaves trails that leave you the tormented status effect. If you're tormented and he downs you, he can put you in a cage, which are basically hooks without having to take you there. And or if you're death hook, he can just straight up kill you. The Blight. The second best killer. Always has been. Has 5 dashes that he chains together by bouncing off walls and debris like a pinball. You better hope your positioning is on point. For some reason, not a 110 killer. The Twins. M1 killer that summons her little brother to run around and jumble people and injure them. If you're injured, he can down you, so stay healthy at all times and be paired up with someone. The Trickster. A ranged killer that throws knives quickly that build up to a hit. If you hits enough knives, he throws them at light speed, so get to dodging when you can. The Nemesis. M1 killer that has an infection system and a tentacle. With the tentacle and zombies, he can infect you, and if you're infected, the zombies and tentacle can damage you. If he tears up, his tentacle can break pallets, so watch out for that. Pinhead. The only killer no longer in the game. Pinhead has a box that spawns on the map that you need to solve, or else hooks will come out of the map relentlessly to interrupt any and every action you do. He also has a manual hook to block you off from performing actions. Rest in peace, my guy. The Artist. Ranged killer that throws out birds that swarm you on first hit, or directly damage you if they hit from up close. Wave them off in time or she can damage you if the bird hits again. The Onryo. M1 killer that can teleport around the map using TVs as well as being relatively stealthy. Each time she teleports, she builds up stacks of condemned, which you can remove by taking tapes from TVs and putting them into the respective TV on the other side of the map. If you hit 7 stacks of condemned, she can kill you no matter the hook stage, so don't be ignorant. Dredge. Can teleport through lockers and leave a remnant at a loop to teleport back to for mind games. Has a nightfall stage that builds up through injuries and other factors that makes the map go black, and you can't see anything. The Mastermind. Wesker has 2 dashes that he can grab you with, and you gain infected when grabbed. If you're fully infected, you suffer a slight movement penalty and is grab insta down, so make sure to disinfect with the sprays and containers marked around the map. The Knight. Can place 1 of 3 guards to patrol an area and chase a survivor if found. Jailer patrols faster and has a longer chase, Assassin moves faster during chase, and the Carnifex is mainly used to break pallets. The Skull Merchant. Can place drones to mark an area, be stealthy, and detect survivors. If you stay in the area of a drone, you become injured, so disable the drones by hacking them in a little minigame. This portion is probably going to be outdated because the devs can't seem to make up their mind when designing this killer, so she's probably going to be reworked by the time this video drops, I'd assume. Singularity. Killer that places cameras around the maps that look like blue lumps. They can shoot biopods onto you, and if the camera sees you with it on, he can teleport to you. He also has an overclock state where he can't be stunned and does things incredibly fast. Find EMPs around the map and disable the cameras and biopods. The Xenomorph. This killer crawls around the map and can use tunnels throughout to get from one place to another. When crawling, it can use a tail attack to hit over pallets and low debris. You can use flame turrets to slow it down or kick it out of crawling mode entirely. The Good Guy. Chucky is an incredibly small killer that can go stealthy. In this mode called Hidey Ho, he can do a dash attack that can go under pallet and vault windows to extend the dash. Unknown. Has a ranged attack that kind of looks like purple goop. If you hit once, you're weakened, and you can look at it to get rid of the effect. but if you get hit again, you get damage and maintain the effect. It can also teleport to 3 hallucinations that it leaves across the map. The Lich. Vecna has 4 spells at his disposal to help him. A big ball to detect survivors, an attack of skeletons that you can dodge by crouching, a hand that can pick up or hold pallets to deny them from being dropped, and a fly to give him crazy map mobility. You can find items in chests to slightly counter these spells. The Dark Lord has 3 forms with different powers. Vampire form has a ranged flame pillar attack similar to Pyramid Head's shockwaves that can go over low structures. Bad form moves it quickly across the map and can teleport to windows and pallet vaults, but is blind cleverly enough. Finally, Wolf form lets him do 2-dash attacks not unlike Wesker. The Houndmaster.
What the dog doing?
This killer sends her dog out to gens and other objectives, and she can follow it to go really fast. When in chase though, she can send the dog out to grab and pull you in so she can damage you. The Ghoul. A sort of hybrid killer that just jumps across the map obnoxiously. Using his tentacles, he grapples to anything, including you. He can get a free injury on you if he's near you after a jump, which puts him in a rage state. Here he gets another jump, which lets him move insanely fast in chase, so you need to be very wary of your surroundings. The animatronic. And finally, we end the killer list with the one you're probably all here for, Springtrap. Springtrap has multiple doors around the map that you can use to move through, or look at cameras to detect him. Careful, because he can intercept you if you move between doors, which is an insta-down. He has an axe, not unlike Huntress, to damage you, and it sticks to you. If he gets close enough to you with the axe still in you, he can directly grab you without needing to down you first. And boy, that was every killer speed round. That was a long one, but let's keep it moving to wrap things up here. Soldier, your induction into the ranks of the Dead by Daylight player is nearly complete. We're in the home stretch now, so you'll soon be able to get in there and get tunneled by 4 Kanekis and 3 Blights. Keep your ears peeled and let's wrap this up. I've sort of dedicated this segment to other facets of the games that are present and relevant, but not as core as the other things I've mentioned. More situational than anything. There are a wide variety of maps that the game has which have been streamlined and whittled down with recent updates for less clutter. Maps are separated into areas called realms, which determine the aesthetics and some layout choices, so you'll always know where you are at a glance. As you play, you'll get a general feel for map layouts and where to go within each realm for proper loops and gen spawns, though not without growing pains, I'll admit. Maps like Midwich, Gideon Meat Plant, RPD, Larry's, and Hawkins Lab are especially notorious for being difficult to navigate within their indoor layouts. Not to mention they're pretty killer-sided in nature, though woke not really. You know Haddonfield is fucking dog shit. While each one has a fundamental structure to work with, they have randomly generated tiles and pallet spawns to keep the experience fresh every time in how you plan to route your chases and decision making and where you work on gens. 2 chests spawn in the map and 1 spawns in the basement, which is essentially the most dangerous point in any map. It spawns in either the killer shack or the main building and has 4 hooks that are rarely going to be a safe unhook if you get down there, so yeah, don't be stupid. Anyways, chests can be opened to give you an item which can be useful, but oftentimes you're better off doing gens or healing. Items in general are very useful tools you can bring into a trial to help you escape, with a variety of individual add-ons to provide or strengthen effects. You've got medkits, toolboxes, flashlights, keys and maps, and some perk specific items, but for the most part, you're going to be running medkits and toolboxes, which speed up healing and gen repair speeds, with the former letting you self-heal, which is pretty big if you're good about it. The other items are fun but impractical gimmicks, with the flashlight being the worst offender. You can go crazy with it to stun the killer as they pick a survivor up, but 9 times out of 10 you're gonna look like a bumbling fool trying to get the save. Fun, but ultimately risky. As I mentioned in the chase segment, when you're injured, you'll grow like an ape and leave blood, and you can be healed by your teammates. It takes about 16 seconds, but like gens, you never want multiple people to do it if you're not already set on a couple. Splitting up is the name of the game. I didn't go into the details since I think it's self-explanatory for the most part. See someone hurt, go and heal them if you can, but if you see someone injured on your HUD, don't go out of your way to haul ass across the entire map to go look for them. Another element maps bring are totems. 5 totems spawn around the map, and they're small piles of sticks and skulls you can usually find tucked in corners and cheeky little spots. By themselves, they do nothing, but killers have perks that are activated by these totems, which can have insane effects if left untouched, so if you see a lit totem, cleanse it with some niche exemptions. Remember this rule of thumb: if it glows, it goes.
Bro, serious.
The totem twin.
Why? Bro, what?
Oh,
It's 100 ground. It's 100 ground.
Oh!
Some survivor perks allow you to bless the totems for similar effects in an area, though those aren't as common or effective. Again, you're better off sticking to gens. God damn it, soldier, you have made me proud. You've shown yourself to be a fine and proper listener, and I have no doubt you'll work wonders on the battlefield. Your time here is done. Give me one last war cry, damn it. And that is about 1% of what you need to know to get into Dead by Daylight.
What?
I'm just kidding. I mean 2%. In all seriousness, despite the simple premise this game has, it is incredibly in-depth and nuanced with how you interact with each map, killer, perk combinations, and various other things you can play around with. I've had a ton of fun with my relatively moderate amount of time playing the game, and there's a lot both you and I have to learn about it. Getting some friends to join in when you learn the game is great, especially since the FNAF chapter is undoubtedly going to introduce so many different people into the game. It's going to be interesting to see how many people stick with the game because boy, let me tell you, it's not easy. That initial curve is definitely a mountain to climb, I'll tell you that. Outside this video, however, you'll find an endless amount of content about the game, whether it be informational or entertaining. The obvious recommendation would be Darva, who I've alluded to a couple of times in this video. He has a plethora of videos covering just about everything I've mentioned here, and goes into detail so you get a deep understanding if you think about taking this game a bit more seriously. There are also websites like the official DBD Wiki to get a good read on anything you feel like you want to take a look at. All this to say, while the game is flawed, very flawed, it's got a ton of great stuff for you if you're willing to hop in the deep end. Thanks for watching. Safe loops.